Welcome to another episode of Natural Mojo, where I'm bringing you energy and power from the great outdoors. My name is Pamela Sylvan, and I'm your host, and I'm also known as the Mojo Maker. Now, this week is an interesting one because I'm bringing you 6 steps, and I'll even say slash principles that helped me really catapult myself into that next level place. And I know that's something that you're really interested in hearing about. So let's go through them, okay? So I've titled this week's episode as 6 steps to get you ahead in the next 6 months. So the reason I brought these 6 steps to you is I always am fascinated by those people who are doing the things that I want to do and doing them that much better. So they're my sort of absentee mentors, if you will. I sort of silently stalk them from afar, whether they're online or I'm reading them in books or whatever, but I notice some very fascinating points about each and every one of them in their own way and differently, but they sort of fall under these 6 sort of umbrellas. So I'm going to bring them to you because they really helped me, and maybe 1 or 2 or all of them will be very pertinent to you. And it's nothing that you haven't heard of before. It's just that we need a constant reminder all the time to keep our eye and focus on these things, because even though we might hear them and think, oh, those are really great ideas, unless you actually put them to use like my mentors do, and now I'm doing, you won't get the results that you're looking for. So let's get started, okay? The first one is gathering your courage first thing in the morning. Use your mornings to be the place and the time to put on the armor for the day. And it's not that you're going to physical war, but you are going to an emotional and a mental war, and even a spiritual one at that. And you have to be prepared. It's not simply about getting up and getting your shower, throwing your clothes on, and getting that first cup of coffee into you. It's really understanding the energies in which you're going to be engaging with throughout the day. And the biggest energies that you're going to go engage with are the ones coming from your mind. So the messages that you keep reiterating that keep you in place, keep you down, and hold you in an unproductive state. And of course, there's always the energies coming from other people and their good opinions about things, and just on and on. So you have to spend time first thing in the morning, the prime first fruits of the day, to really engage what it is that you need to feel and do and who to be to go out into the world to get things done. First thing in the morning, I always put myself in front of my technology. Now I hear that a lot of people say, no, you have to do this, that. Well, I put myself in front of my technology, but not in the way that you think. I'm not there to do my social media, at least not right away. The first thing I do is I open up my technology and I begin to prime myself. Some of you have heard me talking about this lately. I prime and program the vision and the messages I want to seep into my imagination, into my subconscious, and bring it in. And I can feel my shoulders going up, like I'm getting ready to go out there and do everything that I have to do and to take on the challenges of the day. It's like exercise for your mind, and exercise for your emotions, and exercise in a way that gets you set and ready and primed. So on board courage first thing in the morning. Most people don't hear that type of conversation, don't they? It's have a really good breakfast, work out, meditate, do your stretches, or whatever that you're being told. But I think the first thing that you need to do is sit and contemplate. Write things out. That's why journaling, especially, I think Julia Cameron talked about first pages in the morning, where you are writing out what comes to you on an intuitive basis, an intuitive sense. It's almost akin to that. So while you're writing out what it is that you're feeling and what it is that you want to see happen for the day, make that also a time to speak and whisper words of encouragement for your day. This is something only you can do for yourself. Even your best friend or your husband or partner, they might give you a pat on the back as you leave the house to go on with your day or whatever else you're going to go do. But it's up to you to be the person that whispers the words of power into you. pour into yourself before you're able to pour out to anybody out there, whether it be your clients, your family, your children, your significant other, what have you. Be that person and that power and that energy that gets you rising up beautifully. Okay, so gather courage in the morning. That's point number one. Point number two is explore your own learning. After you have left higher education, a lot of people never step out into the world again or onto the path of learning again, right? Continuous learning is the number one way to win in the world in which we now find ourselves. It's not access to information anymore where you had to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a top grade education. Yale and places like that now have a lot of their programs online for free. Anybody can plug into information anymore, but it's those that pick up the information and go through the information and invest in the information, their time and sometimes money in the information, and apply the information are the ones that will come out on top. It's just the world we live in, and the information is coming at us so quickly. If I, as one person, is able to put out the amount of content that I put out on a daily and weekly basis, can you imagine the throng, the hundreds of millions and billions of people constantly putting information out there, not to mention the publishers and the streaming companies and the corporations that are constantly putting content out there for our consumption. So you have to figure out what is it that you want to consume along your path of learning, along your passion of learning, along your joy of learning, not just any old thing. And that's where the problem lies for most people. They are allowing the information to find them at low moments, and a lot of it has nothing to do with where you want to go. Your vision does not mean that you take in everything set before you. You have an obligation to yourself to only put your sights on that in which you wish to absorb into your person, into your mind, into your center of learning. Establish a curriculum for yourself, establish a mode of learning, establish a timeline for yourself so you are focused on one path of learning and then you go on to another. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Once you have all of this information ongoing and swirling through, you can pull information at will. It all of a sudden turns into this magical thing that happens. And I don't mean to make it sound like you're pulling rabbits out of hats, but that's what it means almost, because the information that you intentionally take on in the form of courses, books, master classes, podcasts, university courses, learning after school, anything that you can do to further your path along a certain line of learning, whether you might even want to start a business for yourself and you need to do some learning. All right, maybe you want to go into coding. Maybe you want to become a writer. Maybe you want to learn how to start and launch a business. I mean, there's so many things that you might want to learn how to do, but you need to learn. It's your responsibility to create your path of learning. And again, no one's going to do this for you. This is totally up to you, okay? So, set it out. Be courageous enough, be brave enough, be bold enough, and learn, and then apply, and then practice. Okay? All right, so number 3 is unlock your magic. There's that word again, Pamela. Again, I'm not using the word magic as if taking things from the unseen to the seen, although in certain ways that's how it could be happening. But I'm talking about when you start to see what was there the whole time. And your power is inherent. Mostly dormant, but always inherent. We all came in with our magic, our center of possibilities, our power, that thing that only we can do. But we all have similar reservoirs of power: courage, energy, compassion, love. All of these things are part of that well of magic. So how do you unlock these things? Well, first of all, you have to become aware of it, right? You have to understand what kinds of things light up your brain. What lights up your brain? I can ask that question all day long, and most people wouldn't even know where to start or how to answer that question because they're living in default mode. They go to work, they know where they work, so they are able to get there without even thinking about it. How many times have you driven somewhere like work or to the grocery store without even having to think about it because you've done it so many times? It's become part of you. I'm talking about waking up to your well of possibilities. We all have a well of possibilities. Some people have capped off their well and sit on it or have totally walked away from it. I'm talking about taking the cap off the well and diving in and finding what is for you to do, that thing that lights you up. There's someone on Facebook that I follow. Her name is Nicole Natras. I hope I said that right. But she helps people with journaling and prolific journaling in a way that inspires creativity and inspires healing and well-being. And I see how she follows that passion. I see how it lights her up when she speaks of this particular path that she's on. And she's using all the best parts of her to get this job done. And I'm just so fascinated watching her and others like her that follow the energy and follow their flow. So they in fact have unlocked their magic. And when I figured out how to unlock my magic, because you see, I always discounted what I wanted to do. I felt it wasn't prestigious enough or fancy enough or sexy enough or whatever enough like the other person. Again, going into a sense of comparison. What the other person up to is none of my business. My business is to discover what it is that lights me up and follow that bliss. You've heard that. And a lot of people poo-poo that, but there is big wisdom in that. It's magnetizing you to your call and to your purpose, to your dharma. A lot of people just push that away because, well, they have the bills to pay. Nothing wrong with paying the bills. I have bills to pay too, but it doesn't exclude me from doing the job that I was sent here to do. Find a way, whether it's part-time or a hobby or something you can do to connect to the thing that lights you up. Okay? All right, so let's move into the next one. Reinvent or reframe failure. Yes, we are so afraid of that word. Why? Because we don't want to look bad in front of other people. We want to look good. We want to look like we're thriving. We want to look like we've got it all together, don't we? I'm no different, but I've also learned to reframe the setbacks that come into my life because it's all part of the package. A lot of people are trying to live their life so they don't feel the pain of rejection, so they don't feel the pain of falling down. Who told us that was part of the package? Where did you get that? Is that something somewhere on Instagram that I might have missed? People, come on. Fail not on purpose, but know that when you do, and you will in some form or fashion, that it's par for the course. All right? So when you are faced with it, somebody laughs at you, somebody rejects you, someone says no, the thing didn't work out, the project launched late, someone said something about you, you got a bad review, your wife, husband, or partner left you, your kids are acting up, the dog is sick, the cat ran away, whatever it is that goes on in your life, as it does for 8+ billion people on this planet, you're not special in that way. Things happen to each and every one of us. How you reframe failure and then access your power to keep going in spite of it is what separates you from 99% of the people that just dwell and ruminate in the problem that befalls them. Learn to see it differently. Learn to see failure as fuel and practice it. It's not going to feel great. I'm not asking you to feel good and do a 2-step around failure. You might want to, but what I'm asking you is to not let it cut you down to size and roll you into the pit and keep you there. A lot of people make that choice, and it's too bad because they're going to go to the end of their days with their song locked away in their heart, okay? So it's akin to unlocking the magic. All of these points are connected, by the way, okay? So the next thing is play your dream, game your dream. I teach my clients how to see their vision, write it out so clear that they can smell the ocean waves and see the brightness before them. Whatever it is that they want to do. Do they want to get in shape, write a book, go on a trip, find the love of their life, build a house, go van lifing like I do? Whatever it is that you see or would like to do, pull it into a framework where you can game it. And what do I mean by gaming it? Make it fun. Write it out, program it into yourself. There I go with that term again, programming. I program my vision and my dream into myself during my first fruits of the day while I'm still sort of malleable from sleep in my dream world. I put it in there. I write it out, and I use this technology to put it into myself so I see it all through my day. And it's there. It's like my North Star, right? So play the vision. It's like a spool or a roll of film that's constantly playing in your mind. When's the last time you thought about your dream or your vision or read it out loud? If I rolled up on you one day and said, hey, show me that vision of yours, will you be able to pull it out somewhere from your wallet or your purse or wherever and read it aloud to me, or pull it up on your phone and read it aloud? Or is it just something that you just let slide away because, well, you have to be real, you have to do life, you have to pay the bills? You didn't come here to pay the bills, did you? Is that the only reason you're on planet Earth, is to pay someone's bills? Right? Yes, we need shelter, and we need food, and we need warm clothes to get us through, but we are more than that. We are here to unlock our magic so we can unfold the dream and let other people see us doing it so that they can kick into motion and kick into intention and kick into life. Be a way shower, be a guiding light, become your own North Star first so you can show people how it's done, okay? So the next thing is, and the last point is, and this is a very familiar one, but act on fear. You know, false images appearing real. You've probably heard that acronym spelled out many times, and it's all false images appearing real, okay? We buy into our fears. We've been programmed around fears, and I'm not talking about fear of falling off a cliff and the ones that, one should pay attention to, right? We live in a world that is directed by gravity. So jumping off a cliff without a parachute, that's just akin to stupidity. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about the type of fear that blocks you from opening up to the realness and the fullness of who you are so you can go and connect to your power and your vision. That fear, the fear of showing up in front of people, the fear of asking for what you want, the fear of saying yes to your dream, the fear of saying no to the things that don't serve you. That's the kind of fear I'm talking about. And act on these things when it gets uncomfortable. Usually the fear that really scares you is the fear that happens when you start to think big, when you start to push against the edges of your comfort zone. That's the fear that really bugs you, isn't it? That's the fear that will put you in front of people. That's the fear that you will feel when you get into the game, into the arena. Just like that Teddy Roosevelt poem goes, or quote goes, about the man in the arena. Look it up, Teddy Roosevelt. It's a beautiful, beautiful quote that really talks about how when you're in the arena, the masses will jeer and gossip and make fun of you. But just remember, they don't have the courage. That's why they're on the outside, making fun of you, who had the courage to be there. And you might get your clothes torn and your knee scraped and your chin bloodied, and that's all part of it. So I invite you to get in the arena with me and look silly and look foolish and get your clothes muddied and all these things, but we will laugh and cry all the way to the end of our vision together. Okay? So I look forward to locking arms with you and walking that walk and talking that talk and visioning that vision. Just connect to me on PamelaSylvan.com and connect to me any way that you can, whether you start following me on my newsletters or whatsoever. But I'm always here to talk that talk and to walk that preach. And it's always my pleasure to talk to you here on the weekly episode of Natural Mojo in the great outdoors in British Columbia. I'm just loving it. So just remember those 6 steps to get you ahead over the next 6 months. And not only will it get you ahead in 6 months, it'll also catapult you over a lot of people who don't walk the preach. Have a great day. Bye-bye.